person that they just met to everyone in the group. I'm Dawn. I'm from dslookkin, and I'm on the NC New York team and Team Extreme. I'd like to introduce your partner to the group.
This with me?
Yes.
Who I've just met for the first time. She does not have that stuff yet, but yes, go along. She's looking into jazz, making jazz along bookcase for weddings and decorative with me.
This is the picture that I encourage.
Good enough, good enough. It's a German name. That's all one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it's from the Etsy shop by Al. And his wife fun with relationships and more. And demonstrated the product for great. Would you like to go on? Anybody? And she makes some handmade products. And I'm sorry, Allison, I know your mom. Never talked to Boda, she doesn't order. So the draws and interested in very long.
This is Rachel and this is Allison. Rachel has an online shop with you and she's doing cards and so does Allison. But she does have a way with cards and Allison does something else.
Something else.
I'm Fabiola is here for the first time to people with an online store about things for kids, for newborns. So,
Us. Okay, her name is Marseille, and she's working with upcycling, right? Like taking old things and making them new, like jewelry, stuff like that. Did I get it right?
Yes, I run the shop. Yeah,
This is Anna. She works with felt, all sorts of different accessories. She's starting working with earrings, and she's part of the New York team.
Okay, this is Stacy, all from First and Burden. She makes clutches, iPad holders, iPhone holders, and computer holders. And she's a very high-end material, original design, and she also has she's leather brass.
All materials are vintage materials. It's upcycled with new materials to make high-end box. And I'm on the Etsy here. This is Jean. She's also on the Etsy here. Her shopping is
Let me just try to
Okay. And she makes lunch goods, covered in sculptures, various items, teddy bears, favorite monsters.
Glow in the dark fans and so on.
And this is my mom filming us in the back. She's here to support. Hey, Mom.
Don't shake the camera.
So I'm just gonna jump right in. I really tried to make this fun, interactive, visual. There is gonna be like several slides or just words, and I really hate lectures, but they're just really important things to know. If you have a notebook, it would be super useful to write things down. But let's go. Yes. If I had more technology, I was going to start playing the Nirvana song, Smells Like Teen Spirit. But I think if you're going to talk about treasuries or even having a shop on Etsy, we need to talk about teams. There was a person when I was starting in the very beginning, and she was like, she had a shop that was pretty successful, and her only advice to me was to get involved. And I didn't really know completely what that meant at the time. But now I know it's like being a part of this community that's Etsy, because they provide all these resources. There's so many different types of teams. We have the Etsy New York Street team. We have teams where you're making treasuries, things that are based on your nationality or your interests or your politics. There are I was first on Etsy Team Discovery, and what they did is that they made treasuries. Is everyone familiar with the term treasuries or FP or front page? Should I explain? I should explain what that is. Actually, let's just go to the front page of Etsy right now so you know what I'm talking about. So, sellers curate treasuries. FP is front page of Etsy. This is the front page. When you click on the name, you can go to the treasury. People make treasuries, people click on them, you share them, and the ones that make the front page, everyone all over the world gets to see. So one of the goals is to try to get to the front page or make FP-worthy treasuries that aesthetically pleasing and that sort of thing. And treasuries, it's like a little online gallery of 16 items that are from all different shops. They're never from your own shop when you're making one. They're from other people, only one from each shop. So, let me go back to the presentation. So with Etsy Team Discovery, we were all basically very new shops. It was a new team, and we were making, trying to feature shops that have less than 50 sales, which is supposed to be an undiscovered shop, which pretty much all of us were, or you might still be. If that's totally okay. This number of sales doesn't determine how good a seller you are, how nice your shop is, but we're trying to focus on those shops. We did about 4 or 5 a month, and a lot of those people, some of them I got to meet in person, but most of them are from all around the world, but I still consider them my friends. We still feature each other in treasuries and that sort of thing. I also joined the Stuff team, which had like almost no participation at all. You just like every now and then there was an email or submit a picture for something. So your commitment to the team is very different depending on what the team wants you to do. I joined the Etsy New York team. If you're not on a team and you're in New York City, I really recommend at least joining this team. Only because you really get to have access to well-known markets like the Brooklyn Flea and Hester Market and a bunch of others that would be way harder to get into as a solo seller. You also get the market subsidized. You share like your market space with someone, and you make a lot of new friends. Another team that I joined, I left Team Discovery. I'm going to leave Stuff team. I left the Etsy New York team for a few months, and I recently rejoined. But in that time, I joined Team Extreme, and we were making 25 treasuries a month at least, which was quite insane. They just changed it now to 5, which blows everyone's minds. But the thing I liked about it is that the shops on there are really seasoned shops. A lot of them have thousands of sales. They have great-looking shops. A lot of people for me to learn from because I really wanted to work on my online store. But this is just a great way to expand your network and just to learn how Etsy works. Because you're not going to learn just by reading. I'm going to show you the resources, but it's great to learn from other people. You know, your like online shop friends, your street team friends, and that sort of thing. And I promise there will be lots of pictures coming up. These are just preliminary information. There's a really big emphasis on trying to make treasuries that make the front page. If you're involved and you know about that, you know about the obsession of getting on the front page. And even though it's important and you do get a lot of exposure, people see you and you get the clicks and the views, I really don't think that's the only reason for it. It's really, yes.
How often does the front page change?
It changes every hour.
There's 24 treasuries a day.
Yes. Yeah. And, well, one thing I didn't say, which is almost like a whole other workshop, is like the Google Analytics and using all that information. And I think the way that Etsy determines what makes the front page is how popular it gets in a certain period of time and how relevant it is to current trends and that sort of thing. But I think it's computers that determine it, not people.
You mean
When it
which
gets,
treasury gets
yeah.
picked to be on the front
yeah,
page.
because there's
So
like,
no treasury gets loaded and immediately gets on the front
No,
page
that's
because it
pretty
needs
rare.
to first
sometimes it
create
happens,
steam, so to speak.
but yeah, it needs to create the steam. So I believe it's really about creating something beautiful. It's as if you're a curator in an art gallery and you're trying to figure out what do I want, what works together, what's interesting, what's going to make people think, what's fun to see, I don't know, all these sorts of different things. It's also a tool for contributing, participating, and building the international handmade and vintage and supply community. You know, none of us are big businesses or corporations. We're all small businesses. And we really have to support one another. And I think that's what's so special and wonderful about Etsy and Teams and all these different things, because it brings small businesses together to make this happen. The other thing about making treasuries, and I'll go into more about how to find this information, but making treasuries helps you to stay current on all the trends. Before I made treasuries, I didn't know what this fashion thing was or what the season's color is. Now I know all that information and way more. And it also helps you to improve your own shop and make your listings and your items relevant to the season, relevant to all the trends, and those sorts of things to try to sell your item. What do you have another question?
Yeah. Let me know if I'm jumping the gun.
That's fine.
Questions that you would answer later on,
Sure.
anyway. But for example, I noticed you mentioned several times the team involvement. The treasury is submitted not by a team but by an individual. Is that
Yes.
correct?
An individual. I can give an example. So with Etsy New York team, there are like hundreds of people on the team. So there's a smaller group that does treasuries, and everyone is responsible for 1 day a week on this particular part of the team. And so you just make about 4 or 5 a month, and you feature at least 6 of your teammates in the treasury. And I think the rule right now is within the first 3 rows of the treasury. There are 4 rows, and then the other spots are for other people in the community. The other team I'm on, Team Extreme, they also have 6, you have to feature at least 6 of your teammates, but anywhere in the treasury.
So Etsy New York would feature 12 members.
Sorry?
It's 12 spots, no 16, sorry,
Yeah,
16 spots in the treasury. Could Etsy New York team or member?
You could, but I really don't recommend it. I don't think it's good to have it heavy with one or the other, because this isn't just about featuring your friends or your teammates. This is about promoting everyone. You know, like, it's all about love and happiness, not just like, oh, my friends, or just like promoting me, which you're not supposed to do in a treasury. It's really looked down upon. It's just like sharing love. So that is
Yeah.
in the treasuries. Yes. Oh, this is really important. Schmetzy. Does anyone currently use Schmetzy? Yay! Did it change your life?
Yes.
Yes! It wasn't until I joined Team Extreme that I started using this. And I'm going to go there right now so you can see how to get there, see what the website looks real quick. So Schmetzy is a tool that you use to make your treasuries. It's really not worth it to go through Etsy. It's just so time consuming. It's a total waste of your time. You should use a tool like this. Basically, you sign up and you have to use Mozilla Foxfire in order for it to work as your internet server. So you like go in, you put your shop in, and you sign up for it. And I'm just going to go to my Schmetzy right now. In your internet server, it puts a little star up in the corner. And then you click Treasury Maker, and it loads. You scroll down, and then it sets up your treasury. And so basically, after it does this, it makes it super easy, because before, let's go to my card, let's just pick a random, let's just pick this item. shop, so it won't. Oh, that's the other thing. You just click on some. You just click where it has the little star, and you hit combo, and it sends it to everyone. We'll do that at the end. I have like a treasury for us to do all together to use the tools.
Before our question, Nancy, does that only work with your favorites, or does it work with any listing?
Anything.
So you just show us your favorites as an example.
Yeah, it's just like you just see like the front image, whatever it is, and there's going to be a little circle at the bottom that you just click instead of like going in and all getting like carpal tunnel and all that. Okay, pictures are coming. Yes, the first treasury. So this is Circle and Square by Diana Greenland. She's on Etsy New York team. Whole slew of other teams. And I just wanted to ask you to just jump in or raise your hand, whatever. What are your impressions? What can you tell me from what you see?
Theme.
Anybody else? This is the interactive part.
Circle, lots of colors.
Basically, modern art.
Modern art.
All sorts of items.
All sorts of items.
Good lighting.
Good lighting.
The rows to have things to them.
The rose theme. Oh yeah, they do. Well, this is the first of a few treasuries I'm going to show. A lot of times, treasuries on Etsy have what I call a mono theme, which can be very dangerous, but I think it works here. I really like the geometric circles, and you're right, it has really good lighting. I don't have a slide about photos, but I do have a little thing over here about what you can think about for your photos and what to ask yourself when you're making treasuries and when you're creating listings in your shop. But that's definitely important. There's a great negative space in this. The only thing is that I really love her first 3 rows, but she kind of forgot about her 4th row. She kind of neglected it. And I don't think you should ever neglect your 4th row. Even though it doesn't show up right on the front page, it's still important. You're not creating a gallery of 12 items. It's all 16 items. You know, people use treasuries for all different things. It isn't just about the front page, so don't forget about that. A lot of times what I try to do is I'll make the first 3 rows, and then I'll scroll my page up so I can see the bottom 3 rows and see, does that also work as a treasury? You know, those are different tips to make sure that it all flows and it all works. What do you think about this one? What are your insights? Really clean, very soothing. Oh, shout it out louder so we can all. What did you say? It's too white.
Also, my own personal taste, I actually like that personally.
Anything
Okay,
else?
well, some people are fine.
Different sorts of things. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of these treasuries. And as I was putting this presentation together, I was seeing that oftentimes a treasury is stronger with a wider variety of items. Like this has handmade vintage pieces, there's some accessories, you see some animals which give it some personality, it has great flow. It is pretty white, but Etsy likes white things. They like that. You know, yeah. I tried to put in different things, but it's like, I don't know how else to put it.
Did you create this one?
I didn't do this one. Oh, I'm sorry. This is called Simple September Saturday, and which is such a great poetic, literal title. It's by Candace and Candace in Wonderland. She's on TV Stream. This actually made the front page of Etsy yesterday afternoon. So beauty of what she did. A lot of people on Team Extreme don't use a lot of tags because we have to make so many and just like churn them out. But I think it's, why not? Why not use the tags?
How do you get to choose what tags to put in?
I have a whole section of them.
Awesome.
They don't have to be tags that appear in any of the individual items. You'll
They
make
could
up
be.
tags.
You could say like stationery, necklace, handmade items, tea towel, bottles. What did she say?
Slippers.
Yes, belted slippers, handmade slippers. You could say that too. Things like that.
Well, it's up to you as the treasury creator.
Oh yes, you have the power.
And that will help you, other people, to find your products or
Yeah, because I think, how many tags do you get in your shop? Is it 12 or 13?
13.
It's 13. Yeah, so like these tags you would apply to your shop listings. And that's how people would find things, you know, like handmade slippers. There's a whole, that's its own like kind of workshop. But those are great tools for that. I just have to warn you that a lot of these are going to have some of my items in it because those are the treasuries I see. And I'm going to have quite a few of my treasuries, so I'm not trying to like self-promote, just show the whole picture. What are some of your takes on this?
I don't like the colors personally, but it's light and like the name that's safety or umbrella. Personally, I like it.
More human elements to it. It also makes it bottom cards, I like that too.
Anything else that you notice? Composition? Yeah.
Also, leaves in mind.
Has a really great flow. Everything you said is what I thought when I saw this. I thought it was also kind of quirky and weird and beautiful at the same time, like the mask and this. She always has like really interesting photographs. Also, another one of our team members is doing a workshop on photography. So, not really, but you know what? It's in October 9th with Elena. So you should all sign up for that. But yeah, photographs are really important on Etsy. Because people can't smell or touch or feel the item that you're selling. And with treasuries, you know, it's all about the photographs. But I really feel like this really tells a story. I think the best treasuries and the best shops and like item listings tell a story. They give some kind of, I don't know, what could be the story? It's like I had a dream and was walking in the winter and there were children, this woman had a mask. Little stuffed animals could talk and dance. I don't know, it just
feels natural, like
feels
handmade
natural.
products.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of handmade. There's also, let's see, there's also some vintage. This piece, I think that one in the corner is vintage. Yeah, but it has a really great feel. She didn't use, sorry. This is by Ramon and Oakdale. I don't think they're on a team, and they didn't tag it with the team. They just made it because they wanted to make it, just for fun.
So the carrying of the team to draw attention to your team.
Yes, if you're on a team and you're making treasuries, you should always tag it with the correct spelling of your team, whatever that happens to be.
So all the Etsy New York
It's
treasuries
Etsy
will
and
have-
sorry.
All the Etsy New York
Yes.
treasuries would
Yes.
have that tag.
Yeah, every team has their own tag, that's pretty important. This you can see is tag Team Extreme, but I do have some more Etsy New York treasuries to show from teammates. What stands out to you from this one?
Design,
The design patterns. Yeah.
texture, lines.
Texture, patterns. Well, the thing that stood out to me was just she's taking these singular themes of things like geometric design, these triangles, the chevron, and the white and the negative space. You know, it isn't just circles, or it isn't just red. She's like creating these layers. So it doesn't, sometimes if it's just very white, like we saw before, that works too. But I think the more you have these different layers, these intertwining sort of ideas and thoughts, the stronger a treasury becomes. Here's a very literal title. Oh, this is my treasury. And it made it to the front page. It was my first. That's Steve in the corner. It was my first treasury, being active on the treasury aspect of the team again. And I was just so happy to see it on the front page because, I don't know, I just like back to work, back to making treasuries for the New York team. And I had no idea what was gonna happen. And I think that what you're gonna find when you're doing this is that it's exciting to have one of your items in a treasury make it to the front page, but it is way more exciting to have one of your treasuries that you curated, you came up with, you designed, make it to the front page. So I'm really proud and happy.
When was that?
Oh, they don't tell you. I just happened to like come onto Etsy and there it was, which was really nice. But there are tools. I was going to say it later, but I can say it now. The place that I normally look to find out if something's been on the front page is I go to Craft Cult. And they show, I don't think it's not an Etsy website, but it's like Schmetsy, you know, it's like a complimentary site, and like they, well, we can go there if you want. Let's go there.
When did you make that treasury?
It was a while ago. It was strange that it happened. I made it a long time ago, and then I don't know how that.
Wait, so it wasn't. So you made it a long time ago, and then it gets featured
Somehow
months later.
It was like a month later that it got. I have no idea.
Is there a way we could find out the analytics behind it?
I'm sure there is.
There's
I'm sure there's a way, but I think that like there's that whole aspect of it, and I think it's important to know that sort of thing, and like the more clicks it has, and all that sort of stuff. But I think that we get weighed down in that technical aspect of it, and instead of striving to make the most beautiful, interesting, fun, interactive, those sort of elements I think are more important and will help push your treasury to the front page or push it to get more exposure or high in like the treasury feat list. This is Craft Cult. This one right here, this is the treasury. Oh, whoops. This is the home page. This is what I think is currently on the front page of the treasury of Facebook. Etsy. You can see, you go in and you like put in your name, and it gives you like you can see how many cards an item has. It's like, oh, these are people who like me right here. Oh, you can find out, oh, which one is more popular, new hearts, you can reset the views. It can be a little obsessive, and you shouldn't always look at this, but I like using the vault. That's why I find if something's been on the front page, you just like put in your name, you search your member, me. So these are treasuries. I was recently on the front page and I didn't know it, and so that's this list right here. And like go in, there's a little bow tie, but you can also see treasuries that were made by you or made by another seller, and it's a list. I haven't had a ton. I think I've had like 4 or 5 a year that make it to the front page that I've made myself. So anyhow, so that's Craft Cult. It's just a really looking stuff up online. I don't know if you want to write down these terms. I just have it up here, but then I'm just going to go as quick as I can to the individual items so you can see where to find it in your shop and on Etsy. Has it been an hour yet? We are at
7 o'clock.
right now. We started a little, okay, so maybe in 20 minutes we can just take a quick break. So all these things are important, and I'm going to show you where to find them right now on Etsy. Okay, so the seller handbook, which I discovered when I was putting this all together, has all the information that you'd ever want. So you go to your shop, you're in like sort of the behind the scenes part of the shop, and it's on the lower left-hand corner under resources. This was created, I think, this summer, the seller handbook. And it just covers everything: photography, branding, how to price, how to ship, thinking about taxes, oh gosh, it just has so much information. Photography for beginners, tips. I'm not even going to go into all this stuff. Oh, guys, Google searches. This just has a lot of really important information, especially useful to new shops, but I know that I'm going to go back in and use this as a resource now that I know it exists. And the next thing, does anyone currently receive Etsy emails like Etsy Fashion, Etsy Dude, Etsy Finds, Etsy Success? Yeah? Some people. That's good. These are super important. You should sign up for at least one of them. I'm just going to show you how to find it, just because it can be a little confusing. So you go to your account, and then you go to settings, and then you go to emails. And then these are all your subscriptions. So there are Etsy gifts, Etsy weddings, there's tons of newsletters, and they also have some international newsletters. This is super important. I don't always check my emails anymore, but let's say you want to try to start compiling items for your treasury. You can go to your email and just go in and check things, and those things are already like treasury ready. So they're a great resource. You can also find out what's trending. Maybe you're in one of, maybe you're in one of these emails and you're so excited and you want to promote that to your social networks, and it's like a great thing, or you want to put it somehow on your listing. This was featured in the Etsy blog or whatever. Just good to know what's going on. Maybe your friends are there. It's good to sign up for one of those emails, but definitely everyone should be signed up for Etsy Success. It's sort of like the action aspect of the handbook, because Etsy says, we're going to have a workshop on how to do this thing, or here are tips on photography, or they just have really great things to know. And on the Etsy blog, every month they have the merchandising report. So they already have October up. And this is super important for, like, if you're talking about how to tag your item, what should the theme of my treasury be, what do I want to put in my shop, what do I want to start making that's relevant to what's going on. This has, like, all these different holidays, fashion, weddings, and it just goes into detail. It goes into, like, health. Oh, that's mine. Oh, that's exciting, but they didn't say I didn't. That's okay. That's okay. Forgive them. So these are like trends. This is so useful. Wizard. shop, I go to the Treasury tab. This is just, go to the front page, and you go to Treasury, and then I pull it out. So it's its own little window. I'm doing this because, oops, I'm going to work on a Treasury together. And so you can see, what are the trends? Fall, fine. Halloween, vintage, black, brown. I normally do all the way down. So if you're making treasuries, setting up listings, you don't have to do anything that I'm saying. But this is what works for me. Let's see, all these things. And also, so before, Etsy really does love you. Because before, when you wanted to like an item and make it, trying to think. Whenever you like an item and heart it, it goes into your favorites column. And from this area is where you put a lot of things in your treasuries. Like I'm compiling all the things I like. And before, you have to go into a listing and then click on the heart in there and all that stuff. But now, when you put your mouse over an item, this little heart is up in the corner, you just heart it. I didn't know I wanted to heart that item, but oh well. Let's see. This one, I like that. You know, you heart everything, heart nothing. But then this all shows up in your favorites feed. So there it is. And then they're ready to go into the treasury. Right there. You know. So it pops right in. I mean, it's a lot easier. With treasuries, like getting to the front page or getting exposure, it used to be like how many clicks you get. You get like 100 clicks. If you click on your own, it's not equal to like a new person who's clicking, and all this like click obsession. But I'm pretty sure, I did my own little experiment, and I think just hearting an item in the corner is equivalent to a click. So there are a lot of shortcuts for people who've been making treasuries. Maybe you've discovered this yourself, but I think that's really helpful. And then Etsy also has circles. So let's just go to the shop real quick. Oops. And oh yeah, I like their shop. I'm gonna like them. Oh, I already like them. How do I add them to my circle?
Go to their circle.
I just go there. See, I haven't done that in a while. And then you add to circle. Add to circle. And this is your circle activity. So these are all ways to compile your heart. So it's just like you can pick the activity you want up here, and it just shows you. It's sort of like Facebook for Etsy. I never use it ever, but it's another resource. That's why Etsy loves us, and they want to help us. So they have it here, and you can just see what's going on. It's sort of like a nice visual. Okay, back to the presentation. More pictures. More pictures. Yay! This is my favorite holiday, and Etsy loves it too right now. Yeah, you like it too.
Me too.
So, what's your take on this? Oh, this is yours? This is your item?
Yeah, horror, really cool.
This is Thinking of Halloween by Anita of Stitch in Netka from Etsy New York team, plus she's on like a bunch of other teams. So what works here, what doesn't work, what do you like, what could be improved upon? Thinking about the title and the image and the tags from everything you've heard so far.
I would put more white stuff on towards the top.
More white on the top?
For example, a skull should be higher, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is like, and then
Does it feel like a little heavy?
yeah.
That garland right there is mine. Does that background need to be whiter?
It could be wider.
Would that be better?
I mean, there's an obsession with white. But I think part of that is because you want to showcase the item. You don't want to put a red shirt in front of a red background or a checkered background. You don't want something to distract or detract from what you're trying to show. I know I did that in the very beginning. Everybody does that. But and later I'm going to show some where you can make treasuries and make listings where it's a little more complex, with more interesting and complicated sort of backgrounds. But I really like these. All the treasuries I'm showing because I really like them and because they're helping to show all these things. Oh, it is, yes. That's important. Spelling is important because no one's going to know. The front page of Etsy isn't going to know that this is pumpkins and it's relevant to the season and what's going on. But I could have seen this on the front page. You could have made it. Let's see. And I actually think it has a nice flow. It has flow. Those questions, they're not in the presentation, but when you're making a treasury, ask yourself, does this flow? How does it compare to the front page? Is it visually interesting? Is it attractive? Does it tell a story? Maybe it won't cover all of those questions, but it's just like a good place to start, and that also helps you with your own shop. What's this one? What are some of your impressions from this one? Different people who haven't said anything, although I think
Very simple, very clean.
very simple, very clean. Yes, so I thought about the composition.
I actually thought it was a little too static.
Too style.
Static.
Too static. Can you
Look, you're too lax with that. No. Everything is stale.
stale? Yeah.
I love this idea, but I would put multiple photographs. So there's photography and deer photograph, just because they're very similar items.
That's a very good point that you bring up.
Yeah, and you should never do two pairs of earrings or whatever. Two of the same. They want variety on the front page.
Yeah. And just variety is good in general. Variety is good for your shops. Give people options. I think it is good to try not to have too many of one type of item or next to each other. Sometimes it does work. You can make it work, but variety is always a lot better. And
Question. What if you want to make a treasure list only about one type of item, like earrings, and you take lots of different earrings from everybody? No.
don't do
I did one.
that. People do that.
I did one. That's why
I,
I'm asking.
I think my first treasury was everything that was like bright yellow stuffed animals or something. It's just like, I think, maybe a collection of earrings, maybe it depends how they were photographed. If some were on a model, if they were telling a story. A lot of times it's just like the product, and that doesn't say very much, and it's just good to be well-rounded and variety. That's what they teach you in school, be well-rounded. And that's the same for these as well. Why is it? It just doesn't work. It's not interesting. If it was one thing, like someone was saying, oh, it's white, it's kind of boring. It is kind of boring if it's all white. They like all white, but it is kind of boring. You want to make it interesting and intriguing, and like, do people want to look at it? And yes, like maybe it'll make it to the front page, but you're sharing something with your community. You're giving them this gift of this beautiful thing, or this funny thing, or this quirky thing, or whatever it is that you're sharing. But hopefully it has some personality and that sort of thing.
Treasuries live forever, right?
No, they absolutely do not. They're completely fleeting. And that's why if I did this in the wintertime, you'd see winter holiday themed treasuries in this presentation. You know, how long do they last? Less than a month, maybe a week even. Because people, you know, will update their shops. Maybe they'll remove this item from their shop, so you'll have a blank spot. So that isn't your fault. But that happens. And a lot of times you go to the front page and you go to see it, and one of the items is already gone. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to get exposure, but it is totally fleeting. So you don't want to necessarily spend 3 hours on one treasury because it's going to be gone soon. I mean, you could. It happens sometimes. You know, it's frustrating, but it is totally momentary.
How long does it typically take to do a treasury? Because obviously you've been doing this for a while.
Sometimes it's 20 minutes and sometimes it's an hour. It depends on the team. Like for Team Extreme, it's all about making treasuries and it's competitive to get in, so you have to have had a certain number of treasuries in a 6-month period created before even applying, and you have to have like a treasury ready shop and have a certain number of pages, so it's really competitive. And so all those shops, like, not everyone, but the vast majority, like, it's easy to take items from people because they have great pictures. You know, they really put a lot of work into it. They had the time to grow and mature and to land at Etsy. And I think that part of the reason that Etsy New York is having this workshop is because we want to improve our shops and we want our teammates to improve because we want to get more exposure as a team and build up. So I'm trying to share the things that I've learned from all these teams with the New York team. But again, it's a street team, so the focus isn't on the shop, it's on markets. And I'm sure all the sellers who sell from this team, when they set up their display at a market, it's a beautiful display because that's what they have practiced and that's what they're focusing on. But you still shouldn't neglect your Etsy shop. It's just, you know, none of these things are going to happen overnight. And in order to sell things, it isn't ever just going to be one thing. It's going to be 500 things that make that happen. And I haven't had, like, tons of sales, but I've had really good exposure by even having a shop on Etsy and improving my pictures and taking people's advice. You know, not taking it personally, but just being open and seeking out new information. I'm just going to say this quick, but is it time for 2 minutes? 2 minutes? Okay. I just have more stuff, and I'm not going to go to all these pages. Yes, if you're going to have a shop, if you're going to do Treasury, you should be a part of some social networks. Is anyone who's on Facebook? Make a Facebook page for your shop. Who's on Twitter? And your shop should have a Twitter page. What about Pinterest? Is anyone Pinterest? See, I don't really.
That's surprised.
It's just too much. Just too much. It's too much. But it is great. It's great. It's like a whole visual tool. I think you can like plan things, or how do you want to decorate your bedroom? Or like you can pick items, and all the items in Etsy now link to Pinterest. So those are great tools. And linking Facebook to Twitter. This is what I do. Like I post something on Facebook and it posts immediately to Twitter. Not everyone wants to do that because it's sort of different languages that you speak on these social networks. Like you go to facebook.com/Twitter and then it asks you, what do you want to link to Twitter? It's just, I don't know. I'm trying to get into the whole Twitter world. I'm a Facebooker, but I'm trying to explore that world. And Bitly is a website you use to shorten links. You should always shorten your link. Don't have this long monster link. You want little links when you post things. Hootsuite is a place. It's a great resource. You should be writing this down if you don't know about these things. You can go to Hootsuite and plan your tweets, plan your Facebook posts in advance. You can plan it to post to all of them or one of them, or I'm trying to use that. Hootsuite. There are other resources. I found it out through like Etsy workshops.
It manages manage all your social media.
Yes.
Basically on one screen, and you schedule in blog posts, Twitter updates, Facebook updates for certain times. So basically, you don't have to be at your computer. Like if you know that you want to post about, you're going to sell for the flea, and you're crazy on that Saturday prepping for Sunday or Friday or whatever, you just schedule it in on Tuesday. It's going to post. You don't have to worry about it.
What else? And these are also all things that I have bookmarked in my internet server. So I can just click on it, not searching for things. So Etsy team discussions, you can like talk to other teammates and post treasuries and other things on Etsy, but a lot of groups also have a Google discussion group. And then team members. I think those should always be at your fingertips. And okay, just a really quick break. So like drink some water.
Good job, Dawn. Okay.